Week 7 NFL predictions against the spread. Let's get into it. Thursday Night Football, my Baltimore Ravens going into Miami. I've got the Ravens winning. I'm a little worried about that 7.5 point line. Look, that's a lot of points to lay on the road on a short week. I think it's going to go under the 51 for sure. This Ravens defense looked very good last week. The Dolphins offense is not inspiring, especially not with Tyreek Hill. I think the Ravens win. It feels like a 20-13 game, maybe a 24-17 type game. I'd be a little worried about taking, minus 7.5. That does worry me on the road. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a rout, though, if the Ravens win by 30. 49ers at Giants. Look, this feels very similar to that Chargers game a couple weeks ago. Chargers went from West Coast to East Coast. Chargers were favored by 3.5 points. 49ers are favored by 2.5. I've got to go 49ers. Look, it was a different situation. You had Neighbors. You had Scatterboo. Just feels a little different. The Chargers had a lot of injuries. I think the 49ers take care of business. Look, if this line was minus 4.5, minus 5.5, I'd probably go Giants, but minus 2.5 doesn't worry me too much. I'll take the Niners. Bears at Bengals. Bears minus 2.5. Look, I'm a big Joe Flacco guy. I think Joe Flacco's a very good backup, but he's a backup for a reason. I think the Bears go into Cincinnati, and I think they win pretty comfortably. I've got the Bears by touchdown, and I've also got the under 51. I think the Bears, Bengals, and Ravens, Dolphins under 51.5. Those both feel like very easy hits to me. Now this game, Broncos at Texans. Look, minus 1.5. I'd lean Texans money line if I got it at even odds. Minus 1.5, although it doesn't seem like much in such a low scoring game. The over-under is 39.5, which means there's a very good chance that this is a 20-21 game. This is an 18-17 game, but this is a 20-23 game. So I really don't like that minus 1.5. If it was a money line, I would take the Texans. Over-under 39.5. It feels like a low-scoring game for sure. I'm not going to touch that game. That's a stay-away game. I don't feel comfortable betting that game. Chargers at Titans. Look, Chargers are minus 9.5 going from West Coast to almost East Coast. Nashville isn't quite East Coast. It's barely in the Central Time Zone there. But, look, 9.5 points. I'm getting 10 points at home. The Titans have to accidentally score some points at some point. Chargers, a little bit banged up. They haven't been looking as good as of late. I'm going to take the Titans plus 9.5. Look, that's being a 10-point home dog. It's one thing if you're playing a juggernaut team, one of the elite teams, Chiefs in their prime, the Ravens in their prime, the Bills in their prime, but I can't. 10 points, that's too much. Colts at Steelers. Colts are minus 3. This game's giving me some very weird feelings. The Steelers just lost. Kind of got routed. Aaron Rodgers is probably kind of pissy losing to the Packers. But Colts, going on the road in Pittsburgh, it's going to be loud there. It's going to be a raucous environment. Look, I've got to take the Steelers plus 3. This feels like a coin flip game to me, honestly. I think the Colts they'll play good. I think the Steelers, if it's close, I could totally see the Colts winning by a field goal, but I'm gonna take the Steelers plus 3. I don't, a lot of people are like the Colts are way better team. The Steelers are inept. I don't see the Colts routing the Steelers. I really don't. Could the Colts win by touchdown? Sure. I don't see the Colts winning by a lot if they do win. Falcons and Patriots. Look, I think this Patriots team is overrated. If I'm being honest, they're good. They're a good team. They're a wild card team. They'll make the playoffs for sure, but Patriots going to 7-2. Are we serious? Are the Patriots that good? I think the Falcons take care of business. I think it's a 50-50 game. Falcons are plus 5.5. I would definitely take the Falcons up there. Panthers at Packers. Packers are minus 13.5. Look, that's a lot of points. It'd be one thing if this was more of an elite offense. And look, they look good against the Steelers, no doubt. And the Steelers have a very expensive and, in some people's opinions, good defense. But 2 touchdowns, a Panthers offense is good enough to put up some points. I'm going to go Panthers plus 14. I mean, that's too many points for an opponent that's just decent. The Panthers they're a decent football team. Vikings at Lions. Lions are minus 8.5. I think the Lions probably rout the Vikings. The Vikings have looked pretty rough. Maybe the Vikings get lucky and can turn things back around, but the quarterback situation is a mess. They trashed J.J. McCarthy's confidence. I don't care about the injury nonsense. They benched him, let's be honest. So Lions probably route that one. We got Jaguars at Raiders. This is a classic Jaguars drop game. Jaguars played phenomenal, beat the Chiefs, started off the season very hot. This is a classic East Coast, all the way over there to Las Vegas. They get a little confident. The Raiders run the ball. They keep it low scoring. The Raiders win 18-17. Classic Raiders moneyline bet. Saints at Rams. Rams minus 14. Look, I just took the Panthers plus 14. I think the Rams and Packers are pretty even teams, but the Saints are completely inept. Look, I don't bet spreads of over 2 scores. I just think there's so much opportunity for a backdoor cover or just for a couple turnovers to go the wrong way and for that to be only a 7-point win. So I'm not going to bet this one, but the Rams being 14-point favorites and the Packers being 14-point favorites, it doesn't make a lot of sense. We've got the Chiefs at Bills, going to be the game of the year until they play in the playoffs. And look, the Bills continuously win in the regular season and continuously lose in the playoffs. The Bills really need this game. At least they think they need it. They think they need the home field advantage. They need a tiebreaker. And with how good the Patriots are looking, this is a big game for the Bills, with the Bills already dropping 1 to the Patriots, moving to 5-3, losing 1 game to the Pats. With how good the AFC West is, with the Chiefs getting a tiebreaker over you, with the Broncos, with the Chargers. Maybe you could drop a couple more games and miss the playoffs. So this is a big game for the Bills. I really don't know. Chiefs minus 2. I'm going to take the Bills plus 2.5. I really feel like this is another 50-50 type game. The Bills are at home. I've got to take the Bills. Seahawks at Commanders now. Or did the Commanders get Jaden Daniels back? That's the important question here. Is Jaden Daniels playing? Because let's find out. Let's find out from Commanders. Jaden Daniels should be back. Okay, so according to the Commanders' Twitter, which I don't know how reliable it is, he should be back this week. And if he's back this week, I've got the Commanders plus 3. Look, long trip, West Coast to East Coast. I don't think the Seahawks are that good of a football team. I think these teams are pretty even. I'm getting the Commanders at home plus 3. I'm taking that every day of the week. We've got Cardinals who are absolutely reeling versus the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys take care of this one pretty easily. They're only minus 2.5. That means Vegas thinks this is a pick'em game. I don't think it's a pick'em game. I think the Cowboys are clearly a better team. And at this stage, I think they're playing a lot better. And we'll get into some college football picks. I'm not an expert in college football, but I do have a good sense for these things. And I have had a couple parlays. My first bet that I want to talk about, Penn State at Ohio State. I've got Penn State plus 20. They're gonna fluke a close game. They're gonna lose by 3 or 7. It'll be a close one. Vanderbilt at Texas. Vanderbilt is going to lose that one for sure, and that'll crush their playoff hopes. And any other good games we need to discuss here? Indiana at Maryland. This also feels like, in the same week I've got the 1 and the 2 seed. I don't have them losing. What I do have them doing is barely winning. I think they're going to be asleep at the wheel, and it could be a tough one. Very big game in Knoxville. Oklahoma at Tennessee. Both 6-2 teams. They both have to run the table to make the playoffs. If they both run the table, they'll be in, barring something insane. 1 loss from either team, and they are 100% out. So that is essentially an elimination game in November. So I think Tennessee gets it done, though. And, yeah, there aren't a ton of games, honestly, on this week. Utah has a must-win game, but even if they win that, it probably doesn't matter. Michigan also needs to win out, and they've got to beat Ohio State, obviously. And